Yeah, Chapter 2 of the War for Cybertron trilogy, known as Earthrise. It's out. Don't really know why it's called Earthrise. Did you know that? No? I know. It's like, I'm kind of curious as to the views this video will get. Because when the first War for Cybertron Siege came out, I heard about it. Like, you know, it was in the comments section. I don't even have social media, and I heard about it a lot. This one, no one's really talking about it. I found out about it because I was on Netflix for Cobra Kai, and I was like, oh, War for Cybertron, okay. Well, gotta watch that. So we'll see how this video does, and we'll see if people are just interested or they care. But hey, let's start it. Transformers War for Cybertron, Earthrise. So Earthrise is Chapter 2, the second season, the sophomore chapter of this War for Cybertron trilogy on Netflix. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you a spoiler warning. As always, not a play-by-play, but just I'm gonna go into some spoilerish things that the trailer even showed. Saw the trailer after I saw this show. I was like, well, you showed that. Wow. The point is, better safe than sorry, so there's your warning. Alright, so for last season, Optimus Prime took the Allspark, otherwise known as that 20-sided dice from Magic the Gathering, and he threw it up through the portal. Took it off of Cybertron. Might have doomed them all. In this season, even Optimus Prime's like, yeah, probably wasn't smart. So Optimus Prime and some other Autobots get on a ship. They go through that portal. Some Autobots are still on Cybertron with the Decepticons and Megatron. So all right, we have our party split up and now we're on the hunt. A hunt that isn't always smooth and sometimes it feels a little jumpy. I'll say right out the gate, it's 6 half-hour-long episodes. Probably could have been 10, maybe 12. I feel like there's supposed to be more in here. It just seems kind of jumpy in some parts. Like there's one scene where Megatron's like, sweet, I got my ship. And then, you know, he's found Optimus Prime now. He's just kind of there. He knows where he is. I feel like there could have been something in between there, but sure. But really, my favorite part of this whole thing is Megatron. Megatron is just shrewd. He's evil. He is Megatron squared, nay, cubed. You can tell, I mean, he has his reasons for doing what he does, but the ends don't justify the means. He's taking Transformers, Decepticons. I was like, oh, you were wounded in battle. Instead of, you know, giving him a medal, he's like, I'll just go ahead and recycle you for Energon because I need energy. He's a really twisted bad guy, and that voice is just menacing and deep. The guy is just business, and whenever he comes on screen, I'm entertained as hell. Also, there were some moments with the Autobots like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, that whole crew's out there in their space adventure. Like that creepy spinning head thing. Okay, I'm gonna let you know. There are going to be some characters, some things, some terminology I'm not going to know because I enjoyed Transformers, but the lore has grown exponentially long after I stopped watching Transformers. So yeah, I'm going to call that spinny head thing, and there are some things you're going to recognize and hear from Transformers the movie. Not the Transformers movie, but Transformers the movie. But yeah, in Transformers the movie, you know the spinning head's like innocent, and they're like dropping Transformers. Yeah, spinny head robots always creeped me out. So now we have tentacly spinny head robot in here, and it still creeps me out. But the Autobots that are still on Cybertron, at first it seemed very important, and then that arc just kind of, it doesn't end, it just leaves off. It leaves off to the point where the tension's climbing, and then Megatron has found Optimus Prime and his crew, and you're like, did I miss something? I actually had to go back and rewind it, and I was like, no, it just kind of leaves off. And I get there's a whole other season, chapter, 6 half-hour-long episodes to come after this, but I'm kind of with Optimus Prime, Megatron, the Autobots, and Decepticons on that adventure. I've kind of left Cybertron behind, so we'll see if I care. So there was this uneven wave of what's important, what's not important. Oh, hey, that looks important, but all right, that just kind of left off. And it felt a little choppy for the first couple episodes. There's even this whole thing where they take way too much time fighting Scorponok, who's this huge transformer in here. I've personally never seen Scorponok be this important. Never knew he was this much of a big deal. And maybe they wanted to spend more time on it because it's like, oh no, Autobots and Decepticons are fighting, but I don't know, I just kind of came right off Cobra Kai. That's the basis of that whole show, is enemies fighting to take on the bigger enemy. So yeah, when Autobots and Decepticons fight Scorponok, they have to team up. It's just, it didn't feel new or anything. But in those last couple episodes, my favorite thing, my favorite part, my favorite cameo, definitely Galvatron. Because Galvatron's always been awesome, and again, that throws back to Transformers the movie. Yeah, he comes in with his whole time travel shenanigans, which again, we're seeing a lot of that in everything. There's always time travel shenanigans. Even when maybe it's not time travel shenanigans, it's made to look like it. Like, I still don't know what those retcon ghosts are in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have no idea. But it seemed a bit more time travel-y than I would have expected from Final Fantasy VII upon execution. We'll see. But yeah, Galvatron, because if you don't know, Galvatron was Megatron, who was turned into Galvatron. Although I hear that there are a couple different ways Galvatron's been illustrated. There's one where it's like, yeah, Galvatron got an upgrade, but he's still Megatron. But you know, he's Super Megatron now. And in other lore, it's like, no, Galvatron's a different being than Megatron. It was just kind of made from him. That's what I hear anyway. And I always kind of saw Megatron and Galvatron like Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White. Galvatron comes to Megatron and is like, let's go ahead and change history. Because my life kind of sucks. Because he is, you know, he's on the leash of Unicron. It's a shit place to be. But at the end, when Unicron kind of gets word of it, and he's like, what? So when Unicron's calling Galvatron back, Galvatron's like, hey, use this. And yeah, you're not seeing shit. That's the record from Voyager 1, and that is in Beast Wars. So I thought that was kind of neat. A big gripe I have about this whole thing is Optimus Prime. I gave Optimus Prime a pass last season because I was like, oh, he's like this youthful Prime. And you know, I get it. He's trying to figure it out. He's a young leader. And I saw some people talking. It's like, dude, Optimus Prime's an idiot in this show. I don't like that. So now after Earthrise, I'm like, yeah, Optimus Prime's kind of an idiot. And I don't like that either. He's just a shit leader. What can I say? I question his ability to effectively lead the Autobots. I move for a vote of no confidence in Optimus Prime's leadership. Because it's like, I mean, dude, you're at war and you're the leader of a band of rebels going against this really ruthless leader and his really vicious army of Decepticons. You have to be able to make the tough calls. You have to be able to pull the trigger on the battlefield. And it's like they pull the trigger to a point, but anytime Optimus Prime has Megatron, he doesn't kill him. He doesn't take him down, he doesn't take him out. And of course, Megatron flips that scenario and tries to kill Optimus Prime. Then Optimus Prime gets him again and he's like, not gonna do it. Maybe I should have last time, but I feel like it's gonna be different this time. And then, you know, Megatron just acts like Megatron and tries to kill him again. It's like, dude, Prime, at what point are you just not a good war leader? Because that's where we're at, you know? Like, the Autobots are at war. You need a war leader. Also, a lot of Autobots kill a lot of Decepticons in the show. It's just kind of, that's war. But it's like Optimus Prime's like, nah, just kind of, that ain't me, man. They were all fine working together to kill Scorponok. They were all shooting him in the face. Like, yeah, what were they trying to not kill him when shooting him? No. I'm not saying this to have the moral conversation of the moral dilemma of like, oh, when is it okay to kill or not? I'm just talking about effective leadership. And I think that hit me when I was watching the show and we ran into this scenario where it's like, even Batman from the Nolan Batmans who doesn't kill people, even Megatron would have died if Batman was there. Because like there's a scene where Megatron's impaled and Megatron even brings up like, all you have to do is do nothing and you win. I die. So in a world where in Batman Begins, you know, Batman had Ra's al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul's like, if you finally learn to do what's necessary, and he's like, I'm not gonna kill you. But technically speaking, if I just ride the wind out the back of this car, I'm not killing you. Gravity's technically killing you, or the sun stop us, you know. Technically speaking, I don't have to save you and my moral code's intact. So in that, Megatron would have died if Batman was there, which means Optimus Prime's just a bit too passive. I mean, what's that famous Optimus Prime line that he says to Megatron, you know? One shall stand, one shall fall. That's Optimus Prime saying one of us is gonna kill each other and I might be the one to kill you. This Optimus Prime's like, Megatron, I know a really good vegan restaurant not 2 blocks away. Let's go there and talk this out. I mean, if for nothing else, imagine what Megatron could do if you let him live and he gets your matrix of leadership. Oh, he got your matrix of leadership. Your fault, Optimus Prime. I don't know what to say. It is. I don't require bloodlust from the leader of heroes, but I do doubt this particular leader's ability to lead his troops against a bloodthirsty dictator in a wartime scenario. And at the very end, they do crash land on Earth, and there's this Velociraptor. I mean, immediately when you see the landscape, you're like, oh, Beast Wars for sure. And this Velociraptor blinks. It's like his eye's already robotic. So there's already Transformers there, it looks like. I do wonder, now that Megatron has the Matrix of Leadership, we saw this vision of evil Optimus Prime. He's Nemesis Prime, right? That's his name? But it's like, is Hot Rod gonna come into it? I haven't seen him at all. So it's like, is he around at all? I don't know, Hot Rod was cool. I always liked him. It was just cool that the cool guy, like the awesome, yeah, Hot Rod Transformers, like, oh, by the way, He's the new Prime. He gets to be Rodimus Prime. So in the end, this show has that dark tone, that grit that I liked from the previous season. It's called Earthrise. It should be called Earth Arrival at the very end. You know, I don't know. I guess space drifting and a fight with Scorponok didn't have the same ring to it, but Earthrise felt a bit messier than Siege. I think each of these seasons could go for being a bit longer. It's like they want to tell more than they have the time allotment for, so they just try to cram everything into it. I didn't like it as much as Siege, I'll be honest with you, and some of that does come from the fact that Optimus Prime just made me roll my eyes with these idiot decisions he kept making. So yeah, Siege set up some really sweet stuff. Earthrise felt like a bit of filler to me. Had some cool stuff in it, absolutely, but still felt like filler. But alright, Transformers The War for Cybertron Trilogy, Earthrise. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.